What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Savage Rounds. Today I've got a UFC Fight Night Jacksonville recap. We had Josh Emmett versus Topuria. Pretty good card overall, a lot of good fights. Some unexpected outcomes as well, a little controversy. Pick record improved from last week, 6-6-1. Last week was awful. 6-6-1, still not good, so definitely still have to fix that. But that's 2 bad weeks. It's not the end of the world. I've had a decent run this year in general. But yeah, I'll just talk about a few of my picks. So I guess the Jamal Emmers Jack Jenkins one, I really felt like Emmers won that. I felt like I should have been 7-5-1, which still is not great, but definitely positive. So better than 6-6-1. Emmers got robbed in that one. I thought it was quite clear that he won minimum 2 rounds. Honestly, there was a 30-27 in there for Emmers, which is what I had it scored live. So that didn't surprise me when I saw it, but him losing in general definitely did. The Dumas one, in my pick video, I picked Brundage, but on Twitter the night before the fights, I ended up changing my pick. I tweeted it out, and that was logged as a Dumas pick just the night before. I switched over just because the whole world was against Dumas, and it felt like a bit of an overreaction from his last fight, which even also I fell into the overreaction a little bit when I first started watching tape and breaking it down. I feel like I bit a little too hard. He is still a decent fighter who has okay grappling. Obviously his wrestling's not the best, but he did pretty solid against Brundage in this fight, but just in general, it's all right. Solid jiu-jitsu off his back, and good striking, powerful striking, but it's a little unorthodox, and he's pretty hittable. So I think that was just a pretty big overreaction, and he looked pretty good. Good comeback for him, good win. Get your first win in the company, and push on. Peak Mariscal, that was exactly what we thought it was going to be, but I thought Peak was just going to bonk Mariscal at some point and KO him. Mariscal was able to hold up pretty well and dominate more and more as the fight went on. Peak was landing good shots and stuff, but it wasn't phasing Mariscal, and he was able to get the takedowns and a little bit of control time here and there in the second and third round. But entertaining fight. Could not believe it didn't get fight of the night. I'll talk about that a little bit with my awards on the next page. Feel bad for Zhumagulov. Feel bad for Zhumagulov. It was probably his last professional fight, unless he changes his mind on the retirement, but it'll definitely be his last UFC fight. Tough go for him there. Jillian Robertson, I just read that one wrong. I put too much stock into Jillian Robertson being the bigger fighter here. Tabitha Ricci, just watching the fight, was the much more physically strong fighter. Robertson wasn't able to get her down, and then we all knew Ricci was probably going to have the better striking, but I really did think the size from Robertson was going to be able to get Ricci to the ground, but she just wasn't able to. Good performance from Ricci. Rebecki versus Radzhabov. That was a really good performance from Rebecki. Immediately comes out, starts breaking down the legs of Radzhabov for the whole first round, landing big shots too. Super aggressive. Gas tank held up a little bit better this time. Could have been UFC debut jitters in that first fight. You never know. But yeah, looked really good in this one, and then was able to land the big shot. And the ref stopped it there. Good performance from Rebecki. I have my matchups video coming out, and there's a big step up for him. I think that's deserved. I think he's really talented. Next up, Randy Brown beats Wellington Turman. It was a weird fight. It was a little bit slow. Randy Brown almost knocked him out with a huge knee. Turman just wasn't able to get him to the ground like he wanted to. He didn't really attempt much either. It felt like he was more content to strike. He obviously did try and get it to the ground at points, but just more striking than I thought. And the length of Randy Brown just caused him problems. The movement as well. Magny versus Rowe. Not as dominant from Magny as I thought it was going to be, but he did get the job done, which was good. It was like a typical Magny fight, to be honest. jab you at range, land some decent shots, rush forward a little bit here and there, and then clinch you up against the cage. Do what he can do there. Wasn't able to really get it to the ground and have top control, but really good control up on the cage. And I was looking for the ground control and the cage control, but it just ended up being cage control, which is A-okay with me as long as he gets the dub. Next up, Brendan Allen. Great performance, exactly what I thought was going to happen. He came out, opened up really well with kicks to the body, long range. And then I didn't expect... Well, I thought he would get in there and mix it up with the hands, but I thought he would encounter a little more... what's the word? A little more pushback from Bruno Silva in that department. I thought Bruno Silva was going to be able to land some bigger shots. Brendan Allen did have to eat some shots. He ate a few good uppercuts, if I'm not mistaken. And he was able to eat those pretty well. Chin didn't fail on him. And he was able to get a big shot, drop Bruno Silva, and then choke him out. Really good performance from Brendan Allen. Another guy like Rebecki who I'd like to see a step up in competition, even though he is already ranked. But top 10 guy for sure up next for him, I believe. Onama Santos, this was a great fight too. Onama doing really well early. Wasn't as, I won't even say as dominant because he wasn't dominant at all. Wasn't as successful in the grappling department as I expected out of him. Onama was able to get some top time, stuff some takedowns, reverse some stuff, and then hit him with a huge uppercut when they were fighting in the pocket. It was a great shot, put him out. Good work from Onama. He's always fun. I think he's 3-1 in the UFC now, or 2-1. I'm not sure off the top of my head. He's only lost to Landwehr, which, for being this early in your career, not an awful loss to have on your record. Gas Tank looked a little better, even though it didn't go too deep. Still, with all the grappling, I thought his Gas Tank looked pretty solid, like midway through the second round. Next fight up, we had Austin Lane knuckle deep in Tafa's eye. It was really, really bad eye poke, disgusting. Felt bad for both guys, to be honest, just because, I mean, Tafa had a finger knuckle deep in his eye, and that's never exciting or fun. And then, obviously, Lane coming in his debut in his hometown, played for the Jaguars. The fight doesn't even go around, and doesn't get to perform like he wanted, obviously, so I'll talk about it a little bit in the matchup one, but they'll probably just end up rebooking this for a later date, maybe like a month or two down the road, maybe on that Australia card that they have coming up, who knows. Rebus Barber, this fight also, the possibility of what happened, I did say it in the video. I said we know the power Macy Barber has. I mixed power and Barber together. The power Macy Barber has in that right hand, and she was able to land it really well. She's super aggressive, and it was just a really good performance from her. She bloodied Rebus up early. Rebus did get Barber leaking too, not broke her nose, but had her nose bleeding. But, man, Barber was a monster out there, just completely dominant. Rebus wasn't able to implement her game plan at all. And, like I said, that power in the right hand from Barber came through clutch. She was able to put Rebus down and finish her on the ground. Topuria Emmett, dominant, great performance, really fun to watch. Topuria is the real deal. Not that people weren't already saying that, but just this proves it. A guy who just was in an interim title fight with Yair Rodriguez. And you put on a 5-round masterclass like that where there's definitely the option to stop it in the fourth, but Josh Emmett is real tough, so he was able to stay in it and make it to the judges. But there was like a 50-42. It was just complete dominance from Topuria. Really good performance. He'll get a big step up, whether it is the next title shot if he's willing to wait, just because pretty much everybody up there has fought Volk already, or if they want to get him versus Max next, or even Arnold Allen. There are a few good matchups. Next, it's either the title shot or a title eliminator. There's no other options for him. It's got to be one of those two. But yeah, really fun card. A lot of good performances. Some exciting fights, exciting finishes. Let's get into these awards. My fight of the night. I'm pretty sure Dana White didn't give it his fight of the night, which didn't make sense to me. Or anybody, it seemed, on Twitter. But I went with Trevor Peek versus Chepe Mariscal. They deserved it. $50K for both guys. Great performance from Mariscal in his debut. And obviously Trevor Peek is the kind of guy, if you're tough, you can definitely beat him. So that's not a bad debut fight if you've got a good chin and you're willing to bang with him. And you can grapple, it's good. But yeah, really fun fight. Banger from start to finish. And yeah, fight of the night for me. Surprised it didn't really get fight of the night. Next up, performance of the night. I believe I had 4 here because I couldn't decide. Normally I want to go with 3 for performance, winners, and losers, but it is what it is. I went with 4 this time. Matsus Rebecki, like I said, I mean, I don't really have to repeat it, but great performance. Big leg kicks. Was able to get a great finish in the second round. Big step up for him incoming. Next performance of the night, Brendan Allen, obviously. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me pull it up. It was a first round finish. Like, there wasn't much to this one other than Brendan Allen getting straight to it. Let's see. Yeah, first round sub, end of the first round. Yeah, just really good striking from Brendan Allen. Used the kicks early. Got him close with the hands later. Dropped him, subbed him. Really good work from Brendan Allen. Next up, performance of the night, Macy Barber. This was these were like the 3 I was deciding on for if I was going to pull one out and just do 3, but I ended up just keeping all 3 of them because they were all 3 great performances, and I would say deserved $50K each if I was in charge. But yeah, Macy Barber put it on Rebus, got her out of there in the second. Dominant performance, bloody fight, real fun. Good stuff from Macy Barber. Next up, performance of the night. This one is probably obvious. I mean, I bet most of these are obvious, but I'm going Ilia Topuria. If you put on a 5-round masterclass like that against one of the hardest hitters in featherweight, maybe even pound for pound in the UFC, a guy who just fought for an interim belt, yeah, you deserve performance of the night bonus for sure. My winners of the night, Joshua Van. I didn't say much about this in the Zhumagulov when I was talking about it, just because I knew I was going to talk about it here. But Joshua Van came out and impressed. I know it was sad for Zhumagulov to go out like that on his last UFC fight, probably. Maybe his last fight in his professional career, who knows. But Joshua Van coming in, debut, week's notice. A lot of people were saying he was a really talented prospect, me included. But I was on the Zhumagulov side. I thought this was going to be a little much early. I thought the pressure from Zhumagulov was going to be able to put Van off, but he was able to land real good shots and keep Zhumagulov off of him. Really good work from Van. That's a really talented fighter. I'll be excited to see who he gets next and how he performs. My next winner of the night, Brendan Allen. I could have gone with Macy Barber, but she's been on a nice little streak now. She lost once. She's on her way back up. Brendan Allen, it feels like he's been hovering around this, like, right outside the rankings, so I'll say like 17-ish spot, which like isn't real, but just right outside the rankings, to like 12, 11. It feels like he's been floating around here forever, not quite able to break into that top 10, but here I'd say he finally gets it. He should break into the top 10 after this performance. It just feels like a big step up for him, a really big win at this point in his career that'll really push him on to get some bigger fights and push towards a title shot if he can keep beating people. But yeah, really good performance from him. I just thought getting a win in that fashion, other than the 2 I have in the winners category, it had the most impact for him. Next up, obviously, Ilia Topuria. I've said it a million times in this video, it seems like, but a performance like that, masterclass, against Josh Emmett in that top 5, just coming out of an interim title fight, the biggest implications in this were for him winning this fight. He is now either next in line for the title or a title elimination bout. There's no other options for him. It was huge for his career. Pushes him. I think he's ranked in the top 5 now. So yeah, huge night for him. Great performance, really fun. My losers of the night, Cody Brundage. He said Dumas was one of the only fighters he would take on short notice just because of the style and how he fought, and it just backfired completely. He had no gas after the first round. Wasn't able to take down Dumas, who Fremd was able to get down with relative ease after hurting him on the feet. Wasn't able to land big shots on Dumas. It wasn't a good performance from him overall. 2 losses in a row now, I believe. Let me double check just to make sure I'm not saying random stuff, but 3 losses, 2 finishes and a unanimous decision. 3 losses in a row. It's not a great look. Yeah, I don't know. Tough night for Brundage. Next up, Jamal Emmers. Not because of the performance, because he got robbed. That should have been a win for him. He should have a win over a really good prospect in Jack Jenkins. After a great performance, hold up, let me pull it up because his last fight was good too. Against Ashkabov, yeah. So coming off a loss to Sabatini, gets a win in a prospect in Ashkabov. People thought looked good on tape, could be good in the UFC. It'd be questionable. We'd have to see how he fights against a good level of competition. But yeah, he comes in, beats Ashkabov. I thought he beat Jenkins unanimously. I guess I can't say unanimously because I'm one person, but I assumed it was going to be unanimous. Unlucky for Emmers. He got robbed, in my opinion. And my next loser of the night, I'm not really counting it as 4 people because the whole matchup loses. Obviously, Lane, like I said earlier, I kind of already said my points, but Lane losing in his hometown, played for the Jaguars. Or not losing, but losing out on his debut. And then Justin Tafa getting a finger knuckle deep into his eyeball. That is awful. That sucks. Both guys lost on the night. But yeah, next up I will have a matchmaking video. I'm going to do Ricci, Rebecca, Randy Brown, Neil Magny, Bruno Silva, Brendan Allen, David Onama, Rebus, Macy Barber, Josh Emmett, Ilya Topuria. I was going to do Joshua Van. I may end up throwing him in. I'm not sure yet just because, I don't know, young prospect, could be fun to match him up. But yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow, or it could end up being the same day. I'm not sure, for matchmaking. Peace out.